Good to be with you once again, brothers and sisters, and all praises to the Most High. I'm your host, the Apostle Reuben of IUPR Bible Radio, podcasting out of Little Rock, Arkansas, to the true saints of the Most High God. Now, brothers and sisters, it's not going to be much on this Sabbath day. I just want to go into something that I can say that one that tunes into our podcast had an inquiry over. We're going to read about it. Not going to make this too hard and too long. We're going to get straight to the point because there's a lot to prove in this. So let's begin. The book of Isaiah chapter 4, verse 2. And that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So what I want you to understand, brothers and sisters, is all of this is going to be possible for those that escape. Now, that's the focus. We'll make it the word of the day, the Sabbath day. Escaped. What does that mean? What does it mean? That's what we're going to go over today. But let's read it again. And that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Now it says escaped of Israel. So I want to go to the meaning of escape. Now I typed in the biblical meaning. I didn't just want any meaning. So we're going to look at escape. Now we're going to focus in on the highlighted part, but I'm going to read it all. In the biblical context, escape means to be delivered from physical danger, evil, or divine judgment through God's direct intervention or through human obedience. It encompasses literal flight, as seen in Lot's escape from Sodom, and spiritual deliverance, such as the Israelite exodus from Egypt, or a believer's freedom from sin. Now that or a believer's freedom from sin is garbage. Again, that's why when it comes to certain places, brothers and sisters, know the Bible before you look at what these people are saying. The act of escaping signifies God's mercy, faithfulness, and the fulfillment of his promises to protect and save his people. So looking at it whole, we're looking at escape being delivered from physical danger, evil, or divine judgment through God's direct intervention. So divine judgment through God's direct intervention or through human obedience. Remember, it says human obedience. Now, I know I'm all over the place, but I'm going to get it straight in a minute. Focusing in on the highlighted part, we see to be delivered from physical danger, also physical evil, or divine judgment. So this is a judgment through God's direct intervention, or through human obedience. Now, the human obedience is who's going to escape. See, the Christians, they replace words like instead of saying through Israelites' obedience, they said human. It's because let's just do this. Because remember, they said human obedience, right? Watch this. Let's see if it's human obedience or is it just Israel. And that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Oh, escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion. Now, I want to talk about he that is left. Now, we've been in the Christian thought for a long time. The Christians, they made doctrine. We would listen to the doctrine, and as we mature in the word, we start seeing that the doctrine that Christianity taught was not only a lie, but it was a deception. Now, I'm not going to go that deep into this because I already got a lot to cover, but I want to deal with that. He that is left in Zion, left. Now I'm going to go to a past and I'm going to go to a future. The book of Jeremiah 31. It says left in Zion, left. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 1. At the time, now pay attention. At the same time, saith the Lord, will I be a God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. Thus saith the Lord, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went and caused them to rest. So, left is left from the sword. So when they were left from the sword. Now, again, Psalm 17. Psalm 17. Verse 13, I just want to get this proof. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked. The wicked are the who? The wicked are the who? We got to continue to see from verse to verse who are the wicked. Psalms 9 and 5. Thou hast rebuked the heathen are the Gentiles. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. So, the wicked are the heathen. No way we can change it. The Christians can't lie about it. The wicked are the number one wicked of the earth are the heathen. Psalms 59 and 5. Thou therefore, O Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. So awake to visit all the heathen, the Gentiles. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. So the heathen are the wicked transgressors. So when we're talking about the wicked, we're talking about the heathen. Now, Israelites can be wicked too when they join with the heathen. But the number one wicked are the Gentiles. That's first. So, again, Jeremiah 31. Verse 2, just reading this again. Thus saith the Lord, the people which were left from the sword found grace in the wilderness. The sword was Egypt at that time. Man, the wicked. Even Israel, when I went to cause them to rest. So I'm letting you look at what left means. Left. Because when we go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, we're taking a look at the left. We're going to read on down. It says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and its rest shall be glorious. The rest again, but watch. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left. Y'all see that left again? Left. From Assyria, from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the isles of the sea. So the islands of the sea, watch this. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Now, look at this. I'm just reading on down. Okay. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. That's northern kingdom. And the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. That's southern kingdom. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. The kingdoms will not be against one another anymore, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together, and they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab. Look at all these people. Israel is what I want you to see. The Philistines, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. This has not happened yet. It says obey them. Obey them. Who is the them that the Philistines, Edom and Moab and Ammon are going to obey? The them is Ephraim and Judah, the kingdoms. Because see, when you talk about Isaiah 60, they like to try to, boy, they hate Isaiah 60. I'm just going to read this one verse in Isaiah 60. Isaiah 60 and 12. It says, for the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee, the thee, they want to try to say is God, not Israel. Because we always say, when it says that the nation or kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. They like to say that the thee is not talking about Israel. The thee is talking about God. But then look, let's watch this. Let's go up. Watch this. Verse 10. I said I wasn't going to read but this one verse, but I just want to clear this up. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. Thee would be the who? Who is the? We keep seeing the thee. So let's go up to verse 9. When you see the word thee, thee is thee. And we're going to go back to Isaiah chapter 11 to confirm it. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first. So the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. The thee is who? Watch this. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee. The thee, who is this thee? But in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Again, who would this thee be? The thee is Israel. They know the thee is Israel because God had mercy on them. So I'm going to go over this in another podcast episode. I'm going to go into deeper detail. Therefore, thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, the other nations, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee. The thee is still talking about the same thee mentioned up here in verse 10. He had mercy on. The thee has not changed in context, as they say. For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee, the thee is Israel, shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Wasted. We're going to, again, proving with other chapters and verses that thee is going to be Israel. Watch. Back to Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines. Who shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines? Ephraim and Judah. The tribes are going to be reunited. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom. Edom is still going to be around. And Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. Obey them means whatever rule that is set up in the kingdom of Christ, nations will not only be obeying God, they're going to be obeying Israel. The them is Israel. That's why it says in Amos, the book of Amos, Amos 9. They try to get out of this. Amos 9. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Who is the tabernacle of David? Ephraim and Judah. Two kingdoms. That they may possess the remnant of Edom. Edom. And of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. The heathen that are called by his name. Listen, if they're not reading to you Isaiah, because we don't all believe the same. People, they teach. Okay, they teach. I have no problem with them teaching, but we're doing what we do here at IUPR. The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries, which are the Gentiles, have trodden down thy sanctuary. We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them. Talking about the adversaries, talking about the Gentiles. They were never called by thy name. The Gentiles were never called. Look at what it says. We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them. They were not called by thy name. The Gentiles were never called by his name. They were never called by his name. The other nations can't have this verse. That's why when we went back to before I go there, I want to go here. So we see that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen which are called by my name. Who would be the heathen called by his name? Who would be the heathen? Because see, again, we're not paying attention to chapter and verse. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 25. Ezekiel 25. Verse 7. Watch this. Behold, therefore I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and will deliver thee for a spoil to the heathen. So he's going to deliver Israel up for a spoil to the Gentiles. And I will cut thee off from the people, and I will cause thee to perish out of the countries. I will destroy thee, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Watch this. It says in Ezekiel 25:8, thus saith the Lord God, because that Moab and Seir is Edom, do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto all the heathen. Why? Because they were cut off as God's people. They were cut off, and they had become like the heathen. They became heathen themselves. And what was it? And again, what did heathens do? Ezekiel 25. No, Ezekiel 20. I'm sorry. Ezekiel 20. Verse 32. It says, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. So heathen were idolaters. But heathen is just another name for the Gentiles. Now the question is, did Israel become as the heathen? Yes, they did. Again, the book of 1 Corinthians. And see, we continue to show this. Christians can do nothing about it. When we go to the book of Romans, we joy going into the book of Romans because the Christians don't have it. They don't have a verse. They'll never have a verse. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. The term brethren was your kinsmen according to the flesh. Your brethren was your own people. There's no such thing as a spiritual brethren in Christ. Other nations did not go around calling other nations brethren because they were not their brethren. The Bible's pretty clear about brethren as what it means and what we're to understand about it. Again, Ezekiel 11 verse 15, Son of man, thy brethren, even thy brethren, the men of thy kindred. Your brethren is the men of your kindred. Christians don't have anything when it comes to this. Nothing. We make sure we do. Esther 10:3, for Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed, period. So the brethren were his people, were his seed. So Paul is writing again to the Jews in Corinth, as it says in Acts. We can see in Acts 18. The Christians overlook a lot of verses. Acts 18:1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew. So there were Jews in Corinth. There were Jews in Corinth. And you Christians well know that Paul said in Acts 22:3, I am verily a man which am a Jew. So if Paul is a Jew born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward God as ye all are this day, top of the verse is telling you, I am verily a man which am a Jew. So if Paul is a Jew, in Acts 18:1, after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew. That Jew would be his brother, and that Jew was in Corinth. That Jew was in Corinth. These Christians know that Jews were in Corinth. That's why Paul, again, in 1 Corinthians, if you want to know, 1 Corinthians 10 blasted open. We know who Paul is writing to, the Christians. Moreover, 1 Corinthians 10 and 1, moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. Our fathers were under the cloud as who? Israel's fathers. Letting you know that brethren were other Jews in Corinth. So when we go to chapter 12, verse 1, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, that brethren doesn't change. The brethren of Paul, back to Romans 9, Christians are caught up here. They're caught up. Romans 9, man, if they could wipe out Romans 9, they would do it. This would be the chapter. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promises. But Paul's brethren and kinsmen according to the flesh, kinsmen, kindred, flesh, are Israelites, no other nation. So Paul again is writing to his brethren, which were the Jews in Corinth. But what Christians, and you know, they do understand that citizenship was to the Jews and they were Corinthians. That's who the Corinthians were he was writing to because of citizenship. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were heathen, Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So the brethren of Paul were Gentiles because of idolatry, the serving of wood and stone. You are a heathen based upon you serving wood and stone. You are a Gentile based upon you serving wood and stone. That's the dumb idol, the graven image. So you could be a heathen, or a Gentile means the same because of idolatry. So when we go back to Ezekiel 20, verse 32, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone, dumb idols. So Israel had became as the heathen because of idolatry. Because of idolatry. So Israelites were also heathen. And they would be, back to Amos 9. That's why we went here, back to Amos 9. It's going to make more sense now. Amos 9. Verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. The heathen that were called by his name were the Israelites in idolatry. See, what y'all don't do is y'all don't realize that if when you look at verse 9, let's watch this. For lo, I will command and will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So he's going to sift the house of Israel from the nations. But let's drop on down. all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. So you got one part of Israel being delivered and the other part that's going to die by the sword. You cannot overlook that. You cannot overlook it. But those that will not die those that had sided with Edom, when you look on down, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name. What made them heathen? Idolatry, saith the Lord of hosts. They're going to be a possession too. It's a lot to go into, but there are facts. So when Israel is raised and built again, they're going to possess Edom and the wicked Israelites that were under their religious system, along with others. We're not saying that the heathen doesn't mean the rest, like Moab and Ammon. No, they're included. But we're talking about called by his name. That's the focus. That were called by his name. And other nations were never called by his name. But Israel was. And they had become heathen through idolatry. Now watch this. Let's go back to Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Watch this. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. Now, this is talking about Israel now. Ephraim and Judah. They shall lay their hand upon Edom. Lay their hand upon Edom. Who shall lay their hand upon Edom? Ephraim and Judah. And Moab. And the children of Ammon shall obey them. Now it says they shall lay their hand upon Edom. Ezekiel 25:14. This is what that means. Ezekiel 25, verse 14. Real quick. Precept must be upon precept. Lay their hand. Watch this. Look at this. God says, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord God. So God is going to use his children to punish the nations. Over and over it says this. Look at Psalms 149. Over and over it says this. Psalms 149. The Bible says this over and over, brothers and sisters. We're going to get to the point. Get to the point. Look at this. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. When it says the heathen and the people, again, it's referring to the nations and those people. The punishments upon the people would be who? The wicked Israelites. Oh, we got it for you. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Oh, now, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. So the saints have the honor of binding kings in chains. We're reading to you right now. We're reading to you right now as we read what it's talking about in Isaiah 60 and 12. The nation that will not obey will be utterly destroyed. We're showing you to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. What this book says is going to happen. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. And the saints are who? The saints are who? Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Who are they? Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. We already know who these saints are, what the Bible says, chapter and verse. Psalms 148:14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. So the saints are the children of Israel. A people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. A people, not a believer in Jesus. The saints are a actual people, the children of Israel. So we go back to Isaiah 11. Wait a minute now. Isaiah 11. Watch this now. Isaiah 11. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom. How? According to the Lord's vengeance. Whatever the Lord has for them, we're going to execute it. Ezekiel 25:14. That's how he's going to lay his hand upon Edom and Moab. And the children of Ammon shall obey them, us, the children of Israel. So them is the children of Israel. Look at this. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. Remember where he did that in Egypt as well? But pay attention though. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left. Stop. There that is again, left. From Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that they came up out of the land of Egypt. Notice again, the remnant of his people, which shall be left. Left. Left means that there are going to be a lot of Israelites that are going to die. Left means left from the sword, left from death, escaped. That's why Christians have this totally wrong. When they go, let's go to Luke 17. They have this totally wrong. Because they teach, it's left behind. If you're left behind, you have to be taken and left behind. No. When we see this, and I'm just going to get to the point. It says, 2 women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken and the other left. Left is the same left it was talking about in Isaiah 11:16. Isaiah 4 verse 3. Left is not the bad thing. Left is the good thing. People have you think that left is bad. No, the taken is bad. Watch this. 2 men shall be in the field. The one shall be taken and the other left. Now, remember what left is. Let's drop on down. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? Now the where, Lord, is the taken. When they asked him, Where, Lord? They're talking about the taken. The question is the taken. Taken. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? Now again, this is to the taken. And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. So wheresoever the body is, shall the eagles be gathered together. The eagles are scavenger birds. So the taken are those that are going to be killed. Like it says in Revelation 19, Revelation. They'll have you thinking, oh, those that were taken in by the rapture. No, no, no. That taken, wherever the body is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Gathered together to do what? The book of Revelation 19. Verse 17. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls, including the eagles. That's why it was the eagles. The eagles symbolizes the scavenger birds, the birds that eat flesh. Saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. The supper. That's what they're gathering themselves together for. That ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So that is what they're gathering. That's why Christ said, wherever the body is, the eagles are gathered together. This is what it's talking about. They're going to eat dead flesh, because there's going to be a lot of it. That's why it says in Zechariah, watch, Zechariah 13. Zechariah 13. Pay attention. Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. There's that left again. Left. 2 parts of Israel is going to be cut off, and 1 part left. Left isn't the bad thing. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, this is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my God. My people, my God. We know what he's talking about. So how do we determine, let's go back to Isaiah. How do we determine about the left? First of all, there's a spiritual way to see it. And of course, because as we go through this, Christians are very slick. When you try and build something, they'll go to a verse and try to bring what they would call your house of cards down, but we've prepared for it. Again, in that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, left means left alive, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. So now there's 2 levels to this, because it says even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem, written among the living in Jerusalem. So part of that remnant is going to be the dead that are written among the living. Living how? Let's get the book of Psalms. That's why Paul says that we would not perceive the dead, because it's all about the physical and spiritual side of what this means. That's why it says in Psalm 69, verse 27. Now this is to the wicked Israelites now. David is writing, add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living. See, there's a book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. The righteous. So we know that the righteous are written in the book of the living. The righteous are in the book of the living. The righteous, they're in the book. Not anybody is in the book of life. The righteous are in the book. That's first. And of course, Psalms 37 and 30. See, Christians, they will never come to the Old Testament to see its divine truth because it doesn't symbolize all nations. I'm not going to even go. Psalms 37 and 30. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of God, though the law of his God is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide. So the righteous, they speak wisdom and they talk judgment and have the law of God in their mind. So the righteous keep the law. The righteous keep the law. Easy to understand. The righteous keep the law. Luke 1, we're just going to go into Luke 1 just to show you. Luke 1. Verse, we're just showing you this. Luke 1 and 6. And they are John the Baptist's parents, were both righteous before God. Righteous. Walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. So we know that the righteous keep the law. Whatever testament it is, the righteous is the same. The righteous are those that keep law. No bigger verse than this. John the Baptist's parents, as physical human beings, were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. So to be righteous is to keep the law. Like it says in the Old Testament. Same thing. You can find the same thing in 1 John 3 and 7. He that doeth righteousness is righteous. Same thing. Keep the law. You're righteous. So again, when we go back to Psalm 69, if we're talking about the spiritual side of it, it says, let them be blotted out of the book of the living and not be written with the righteous. See, the book of the living and not be written. So this is a written among the living, like it says in Isaiah 4 and 3. But now we know who's being written among the living. The righteous. The righteous who? Israelites. That's why the righteous Israelites now, not the sinful Israelites, the righteous. Isaiah 4 and 3 one more time. Isaiah 4 and 3. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, left from the sword, not taken, not killed, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. The living that they're written among is the righteous and in the book of life. So those that are in the book of life, they're going to be called holy. Again, escaped of Israel, who that is left shall be called holy, every one that is written among the living. So the book of life, brothers and sisters, is for Israel and Israel only, according to the First Testament here. Same thing in Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. Daniel's people was Israel. It didn't say all people. It did not say all people. It says thy people. Well, who's Daniel's people? Who is it? Because Christians, who is Daniel's? Who does he say his people are? Let's see out of the man's mouth. Book of Daniel 9 and verse 20. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel. Also Daniel's people. Daniel just said my people. Daniel, the prophet, says my people of Israel, not the other dusty nations. They're out of here. Get out of here. Stop trying to be in Israel's salvation. And presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God. So Daniel's people, he admits it, was Israel. So look at this. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, saved, everyone that shall be found written in the book. Written in the book. The same book that's in Isaiah chapter 4 and 3 and Psalm 69:28. But what we see is, and at that time thy people shall be delivered. Not all people. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. So Daniel's people, which were Israelites, if they were found written in the book, they would be delivered, which is saved. Just letting you see what's going to happen. And many of them is Daniel's people, that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So everybody wouldn't be buried, but those that were not buried and escaped, see the point? We're just showing you. So let's go back. Isaiah 4. Verse 3 again. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, left from the sword, from war, from death, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. They that will be written among the living would be Israelites. They're the only ones going to be written in the book of life. So when we talk about escaped, they that are escaped of Israel, let's look at let's take a little bit more understanding in what it means to escape. Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, as such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote him. So when they escape, they're going to escape who is smiting them. Someone is smiting the people. Smiting is another word for like captivity. When somebody's being smitten, they're being hit. They've been taken over. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob. So the escapees would come from Israel. Shall no more again stay upon him that smote him, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. We're going to stay upon him in truth. The truth is the law. Psalms 119, verse 142, 151. But look at this. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty God. So what we're going to escape is the nations that have smote us, that are hurting us. That's why when we go back, let's go back to escape. In a biblical context, escape means to be delivered from physical danger. The physical danger is the oppressor. and oppression. Evil. The evil, and that is the evil that the Lord brought upon us, other nations. Or divine judgment through God's direct intervention, or through human obedience. Human obedience is Israelites' obedience. That's why it says that. Though that's when we talk about human obedience, the human obedience came here. I don't want you to forget the thought. And it shall come, Isaiah 4:3, and it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. How are you written among the living? By being righteous. To be in the book of life, you had to be righteous. Psalm 69:28. You couldn't be a sinner of Israel and be in the book. You had to be righteous. We hope you can understand what we're saying. That's why in Isaiah 45. Isaiah 45. Verse 19. Let's drop on down to verse 19. It says, I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said, not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I didn't tell you to seek me another way besides the law. I, the Lord, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come. Draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. See, ye that are escaped of the nations would be who? Who would escape the nations? Israelites. Ye that are escaped of the nations, they have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image. There's idolatry again, and pray unto a God that cannot save. Just if I can say, brothers and sisters, like this. This is to pray to a God that cannot save. A Negro praying to a Caucasian God that does not exist. See, here's another example, if I could say. Here's another example of the escape spiritually. See, we sit around and we watch our parents have pictures of an idol in their house. When we read, there is not one verse in the Bible that will show Christ being white. It's not. We can go to, watch this. The book of Daniel. See, this is what it means to escape. Ye that are escaped of the nations. Here's how we are escaping. Daniel 10 verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. Oh, wait now. This is polished brass. And again, brothers and sisters, if you look at the lighter, I didn't get, I wanted to get a video of it, but I got a still picture instead. When that man continued with the lighter to hold it up to brass, it got dark. It got dark. All right, let's go back up to the Bible. His body also was like the beryl. He had a green garment on, and his face as the appearance of lightning, glory, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. This is also written in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, chapter 1. The same thing is written in the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. In the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool. Wool texture. I mean, you could just about see it if you're looking. It's white wool. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. How can John, if all of his face was white, then how could he see the eyes being red? If the whole entire face was white, the eyes would be white too. But he can see the red in the face of the Son of Man. He could see the red in the face, the eyes. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. The eyes were red. But watch this. So there's more color than the white in his head. He can see the red. Pay attention. And his feet like unto fine brass. Fine brass as if they burn in a furnace. So fine brass is when it gets darker. The darker the brass, the finer it is, not the lighter. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace. And his voice as the sound of many waters. Same thing in Daniel 10:6. We can see Christ with the color of a Negro. People don't want, oh no. You know why they hate that? It doesn't matter. The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 18. Pay attention to this one. And unto the angel of the church of Thyatira write, these things saith the Son of God. Son of God now, who hath his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. The description of Christ is clear. And this, brothers and sisters, is not it. This Caucasian, he does not look this way. The Bible is very clear. That's why it says in Daniel 7. Daniel 7. Daniel 7. You know, and I'm going to take you somewhere too, brothers and sisters. I'm going to take you somewhere. Daniel 7 and 9. Daniel 7 and 9. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. The hair of his head was like the pure wool. The hair was like wool, Negro hair. We're reading to you what the Bible says. And the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So he had a throne that moved. God had a throne that moved, brothers and sisters. This throne would move. It'd go fire. You get to see burning fire. It moves. You got to think about that, man. It's amazing. What we don't see. They're trying to help us, but they really can't describe it. But we want to pay attention to that woolly hair, the pure wool. The same. Look, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. The book of Revelation. Revelation 1. We see wool here. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So he could still see the eyes being red through the glory of his face. See, that takes me back. Do I want to go there? No. I was going to go to Exodus 33 when Moses could see God's body parts, but he couldn't see the face. Now, the face he could never see because the face was the brightest and strongest part on God's body. I'll just leave you with that. But let's go back to the book of Isaiah 45. Verse 20. Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. One of the ways we're going to escape is they have no knowledge. That set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto a God that cannot save. So the nations, they don't have a God, according to this verse. They pray to a God that cannot save. So when you talk about pray, what does that mean? Isaiah 44, verse 17. Well, let's do this. Let's do 16. He burneth part thereof in the fire, and with part thereof he eateth flesh, and roasteth roast, and is satisfied. Yea, he warmeth himself, and saith, Aha, I am warm. I have seen the fire. And the residue thereof he maketh a god, an idol, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it. Notice, the Bible says that the heathen pray unto their idols, not him. Notice it says prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my God. So the heathens, when they make an idol, they pray to that idol. God doesn't hear their prayer. The Bible says they pray unto their idol. There it is, whatever idol they make. See, and this lets us know that when our people are praying to this Caucasian as being God, this is all we can see. Because all you see is little small idols of wood and stone and porcelain and whatever they make it out of. But now, wait. Wait. It says, Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. Those that are going to escape of the nations are Israelites. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image, and pray unto a God that cannot save, because they have no God. It's an idol. So one of the ways we escape the nations is to understand who God is, because it's important. A lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter if Christ is black or white, or it doesn't. Man, when they do that, they're in direct violation of the Bible. It's not what we heard. Let me show you that these Christians are liars. The book of Mark 8, verse 38. Christ says, whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words. He didn't just say whosoever shall be ashamed of my words. Because Christians are quick to say, oh, it's not about how he looked, it's the doctrine, it's the message, it's the message, it's the message. Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me, meaning the way I looked, who I am. That's me and my words and my message. If you're ashamed of me and my message, if you are ashamed of me and my message, me and my message, both of them. In this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. If you're ashamed of Christ because he was a dark figure, a dark eternal figure, because remember, God made man in his image, and the first man was black, meaning God was also dark as a figure, as we've read. We can't be ashamed of the fact that we're looking at the fact that the Lord and Savior has fine brass as feet. Can't be ashamed of that. It doesn't matter if we're in captivity or not. We cannot be ashamed of that. So one way we escape is to understand who our God is, the image of the God, and the doctrine. But I want to go to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 50. Book of Jeremiah chapter 50. No, I was wrong. Jeremiah chapter 51. Verse 49. It says, as Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of the earth. Now this Babylon, who is this Babylon talking about? You're going to see this Babylon, book of Psalms 137. Psalms 137. Never forget this. Psalms 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, and the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even unto the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon. See, Edom is also a Babylon. They're a Babylon spiritually. Christians don't like to admit that Esau is Babylon, but he is. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. So the Edomites are also a Babylon. All right? That's why it says in Zechariah 2, real quick. Zechariah 2, verse 5. For I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho, come forth, flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord. Watch this. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. So the daughter of Babylon is Edom. The daughter of Babylon is Edom. And they are spread abroad right along with Israel in the four winds. So we go back to Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51. Verse 49. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. All the earth. Ye that have escaped the sword. There it is again. Go away. Stand not still. Don't stand still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. So again, it says, ye that have escaped the sword, go away. Stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. Who would be, because ye that escaped, we're going to prove that he escaped again. Is this right? Because it says, remember the Lord afar off. Who's going to remember the Lord afar off? Who's going to remember the Lord afar off? The book of Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 10. Zechariah 10 and 7. It says, and they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as through wine. Yea, their children shall see it and be glad. Their heart shall rejoice in the Lord. I will hiss for them and gather them, for I have redeemed them, saved them. Now I'm talking about Ephraim. And they shall increase as they have increased. And I will sow them among the people. I will sow them, which is Ephraim, among the people. And they shall remember me in far countries. And they shall remember me in far countries. And they shall live with their children and turn again unto the Lord. That's what's going to happen. Ephraim, that's the northern kingdom. That's the northern kingdom. That is who's going to remember me in the far country. Let's go back to Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 50. Verse 50. It says, ye that have escaped the sword is war, go away, stand not still, remember the Lord afar off. Who's going to remember him afar off? Ephraim. And let Jerusalem come into your mind. So see, we're surrounding things here. We're showing you things here. The deliverance with chapter and verse. Who escaped from the sword? Who's going to remember the Lord from afar off? And the remembrance of Jerusalem in our mind. So when I go to Isaiah 66. Now remember too, let's go to the book of Ezra 9, because some of the Christians say some of the prophecies we read over have already happened. And that may be true in a certain respect, because it does say, I'm not going to run away from what the Christians try to do, and you shouldn't either. If you do, it says this. Well, watch this. Ezra 9 and 7. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land, which are the Gentiles. to the sword. See, the sword. The kings were the sword. Psalm 17:13. To captivity, and to the spoil, and to the confusion of face, as it is this day. And now for a little space, grace have been showed from the Lord our God, to leave us a remnant to escape. See, they'll say it was much of the prophecy about Israel escaping has been fulfilled. It's been talking about this place, that place. So we're not going to disagree with all of it, but some of the places you guys are saying it happened. See, it says, leave us a remnant to escape, and to give us a nail in his holy place, that our God may lighten our eyes and give us a little reviving in our bondage. So they say, see, Israel escaped. It shows, because they know Ezra and Nehemiah are after Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. This is the Persian captivity. So as we go, let's see, Ezra 9, let's drop on down. Verse 15, O Lord God of Israel, thou art righteous, for we remain yet escaped, as it is this day. Behold, we are before thee in our trespasses, for we cannot stand before thee because of this. Notice, let's go to Nehemiah 1. Watch this, Nehemiah 1. Verse 2. That Hanani, one of my brethren, came, and he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity. Left. See again the word left. Left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. So whether it's past left or future left, there's an example showing you what left meant. Left of the captivity. There was only a remnant left. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that most Christians would say most of the prophecies we're talking about where Israel escaped happened during the Persian captivity. So you have to be careful on how you read the text, because they could make people believe that escaped was in Ezra and Nehemiah. But it wasn't. We know that Isaiah 4 verse 2 and 3 ain't talking about them escaping in the Persian captivity, nor Isaiah 10 and 20. Nor this one, the book of Isaiah chapter 66. Got to be careful. These Christians will find something in a heartbeat and they'll say, oh, that already happened. No, and they'll come to these verses. But I want Isaiah 66, verse 18. And I know their works and their thoughts, and it shall come, I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. So he's going to gather all nations and tongues. All nations and tongues. And I will set a sign among them. Brothers and sisters, who would the them be? All nations and tongues. The them in verse 19, when he says, I will set a sign among them are the all nations and tongues that shall come and see his glory. But wait, I will set a sign among them and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. Wait a minute. Hold up. Now let's make sense of this. Because the Christian will say, well, he said all nations, and he'll set a sign among them. So the all them would be all nations. That's the context of it. But I will set a sign among them. Yeah, the them. We can't do nothing but agree. It's all nations. And I will send those that escape of them unto the nations. That's where the disconnect comes. Those that escape of them. The only ones that are going to escape is Israel. Other nations are not going. See, Christians will see all nations and tongues, and they will think that all nations and tongues is every nation. It's not. Because the same thing is written in Revelation 7. This verse is Revelation 7. Watch. Revelation 7. Verse 9. Now, before we go to Revelation 7 and 9, we're going to read it again. For I know their works and their thoughts, and it shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. Okay, now watch this. Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, there it is, kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. This is exactly like Isaiah 66:18. Same thing. But the question no Christian asks. Verse 13. One of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence they came? The elder answered, who are these people in these white robes that is mentioned in verse 9? The elder asked him, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So he sees this multitude stand before the throne with white robes and palms in their hands. He sees this great multitude stand before the throne. That means these are the ones that came to see the glory of God. Isaiah 66:18. So they came in white robes and palms in their hands. So the elder in verse 13 is going to ask, and one of the elders answers, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? Where did they come from? He's asking them. Now here it is. And I said unto him, sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation. That's where we got to stop. The ones in the white robes came out of tribulation. The ones in the white robes came out of tribulation, meaning those that had those white robes on went through tribulation in order to come out of it. That's what you don't get. That's what you don't get. So if these came out of great tribulation, then what does the prophecy, or let me reword it. If these that had the white robes came out of great tribulation, who was prophesied to even go through tribulation according to the text. Let's get it. The book of Deuteronomy 4. Deuteronomy 4. Verse 30. Well, let's let me see where. Oh, all right, verse 27 and read on down. This is to Israel now. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whether the Lord shall lead you. So, no, you're going to be scattered among the nations. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands. You'll go into idolatry. And what's an idolater? A Gentile. And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. Again, idolatry. But if from thence, from wherever you're scattered, thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him. And if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, you, when thou art in tribulation, this is who was in tribulation, Israel. This is who's in tribulation. This is who is prophesied to be in tribulation. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, last days. Now, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, not everybody turn to him, you, and shall be obedient unto his voice. So who's in tribulation? Israel. Hold on now. Wait a minute. Jeremiah. $30. Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. That's tribulation. But he shall be saved out of it. Wait a minute. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off his neck. No more captivity. Watch this. And I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. You're not going to be under him, and you're not going to have to worry about them anymore. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. So nope. Again, we're seeing who is going to be in the tribulation. Jacob. We don't see everybody being in tribulation here. The Bible never said, because you're taking away those men and women that put them through it. Daniel 12 and 1. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. The time of trouble is tribulation. It's letting you know here that the only ones that would be in the time of trouble would be Israel. Michael the prince that standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble for who? Daniel's people, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Meaning Israel would go through great tribulation. That's why it says in Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Watch this, verse 20. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. So Christ was in tribulation. He says to this time, meaning he was in tribulation under Rome. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, because the elect are in the tribulation. The elect would be, that's why he says, for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, because the elect would be in the tribulation. For the elect's sake. Isaiah 45 verse 4. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect. That's who the elect is. Israel. So we can see by prophecy, again and again and again and again and again, who would go through tribulation. And it's not every nation under heaven that's going to go through it. Who went through the tribulation is who the Bible said would go through it. And that's Israel. That's how we know. When we go back to Revelation 7 in verse 9, the Bible is telling you in Revelation 7, and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations now, and kindred, and people, and tongues, still before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands. So the question is going to be asked. The Christians can't escape this. The question is going to be asked. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence they came? Who are these in these white robes? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation. Those nations that came out of tribulation was Israel, because they were the only ones prophesied to go through it. That's why we know that the all nations and kindreds and tongues were Israelites. The all nations and the kindred and the people and the tongues were those scattered Israelites taken from the kindred, people, and the tongues. That's how we knew that this all nations was Israel, because of verse 14. They were the only ones prophesied to go through the tribulation, not all nations, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. You'll have no verse that's going to tell you that every nation is going to go through tribulation. Someone has to cause the tribulation. See, the Christians like to teach, oh, everybody's going to be in tribulation, to try to move away who's going to cause it. They were under tribulation. Well, they were in tribulation under Rome, and it's going to be the same here under Edom. So, understanding that this all nations in verse 9 of Revelation 7 are they that went through tribulation, which was the Israelites. And when you go back to Isaiah 66, Isaiah 66, it's the same thing. Watch this. Isaiah 66, verse 18. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape. So those that escape of all nations would be who? Israel. That's the all nations. They're the only ones that's going to escape. They're the only ones that's going to escape. There's no prophecy that's going to tell you or I that the nations are going to escape. They won't. That's why it's very important for precept to be upon precept. That's why it says, and I will set a sign among them. The them are the all nations. And I will send those that escape. Who's going to escape of the all nations? Of them to the nations, meaning there are more nations that he's going to send them to. So he's going to send all nations that escape to more nations that are still on the planet. To Tarshish, to Pool, to Lud, that draw the bow, to Dubal and Yavon, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. Now, Lud is Shem. We continue to tell y'all, look up Lud. Lud is from Shem. Japheth is not the only Gentiles. They try to make you think of that because they want Edom to be saved, but no. Those that escape are the Israelites, and that was the all nations in verse 18. That's why it says in Jeremiah, because Christians like to confuse you with that all nation. No, all nations doesn't mean every nation like they would say. Look at this. Jeremiah 3:17. At that time shall they call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord. The throne. And all nations shall be gathered unto it. There it is again. All nations. And all the nations shall be gathered unto it. To the name of the Lord. To Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. Here's the context, as they say. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, which is Edom, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. Notice, all the nations shall be gathered unto it was the house of Judah and the house of Israel, and they came together out of the land of the north. So again, you can see that when all the nations were gathered, like it says in Revelation 7 and 9, this is another reference to Revelation 7 and 9. All nations gathered unto it, the kingdom, the throne. In those days, the house of Judah, southern kingdom, shall walk with the house of Israel, northern kingdom. This time has not happened yet. This is the future. Certainly we see that all the nations refer to Judah and Israel together, and they shall come out of the land of the north, which was in Zechariah 2, verse 6 and 7, the daughter of Babylon, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. So all the nations that are going to come before the throne of the Lord is both kingdoms. That's all the nations. That's why, again, when we go back to Isaiah 66, the Bible can't mess. It's interpreted the way it is. If you can understand it, you can. If you can't, you can't. But you're going to need precepts. For I know their works and their thoughts, and it shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. The glory is the throne. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them to the nations. So those that escape from all nations is prophesied to be Israel. That's the only ones that are going to escape. You will not find a verse that says the nations are going to escape the nations. It's not going to happen. The only ones that's going to escape is who you read. But the Bible referred to them as all nations. So when we talk about escaped, again, in a biblical context, escaped means to be delivered from physical danger. Yes. evil or divine judgment through God's direct intervention or through human obedience. The human obedience is Israel's obedience. So those that are obedient to the law, those are the ones that's going to escape. That's what we want you to know first. We don't just want you to know that Israel's going to escape. We want you to know that the law-keeping Israelites is going to escape. That's why, once again, when we go back to Isaiah 45, verse 20. Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. Who is escaped of the nations? Israel. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto a God that cannot save. See, because they don't have a God. The other nations don't have a God to pray to, but an idol instead. That's why Christ says in Luke 21. This is what he meant. Luke 21. "34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting." That's not cares, no cares. Doing what you wanna, and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unawares. For a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Everybody. "Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man." Who is going to be worthy to escape? The law-keeping Israelites. That's what Christ meant. You're worthy to escape. We've already read in the prophecy who's going to escape: Israel, but the law-keeping Israelites. That's why he says that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man, like they did in Revelation 7 and 9. With that, brothers and sisters, all praises. May your Sabbath be as restful as it's been. May the Lord be with us in these last days. All praises. I got through it together with you. As always. All praise, brothers and sisters. We'll see you soon.